threat landscape has changed a lot over the last 4 to 5 years, and it actually accelerated massively in the last maybe 2 or 3. There's been a huge increase in the number of vulnerabilities that are exploitable across businesses around the world. And on top of that, the way people are trying to exploit those vulnerabilities has changed as well. So the threat landscape to an organisation now is much more silent than it was in the past, and the amount of vulnerabilities they have to deal with is greatly increased compared to what it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So companies falling behind or getting ahead of threats. I think, you could say some companies are managing better than others. The reality of the situation is that it's an ever-changing landscape. It's very difficult unless you have a very focused outlook on what you want to achieve from a vulnerability management perspective. I think a lot of companies fall into the trap of being reactive to the nature of the threat. So a new type of threat is made public. So they think about, what do I need to do to fix that threat? And they think about it in isolation. What they need to be doing to be successful at staying ahead of the game is thinking about the whole thing holistically. How can I look at this problem and fix this problem from within? And that's not met by taking a reactive approach to every new threat that comes out on the horizon, because they will keep coming, and if all you ever do is wait to react to them, you're behind the game rather than ahead of it. If you look at what exploits do, they attack known vulnerabilities for, in many cases, there are known fixes. So, from a configuration perspective, from a patch perspective, from a vulnerability assessment point of view, you need to put all of that together into a very clear, defined process. That's number one, because you have operating systems, you have applications that run on those operating systems for which there are a plethora of known vulnerabilities. If you don't manage that situation, then you are automatically in a known risk state. That's one area. Obviously that needs to be tied into policy, and it needs to be tied into process. And one of the other key areas for me that I think is critical is to move into a more positive and a proactive management of the applications that you have residing on your network. So moving more into a control point of view rather than a reactive point of view. If I know what I have running on my network from an application perspective, I can put that into a known good state, then I don't really need to worry about what the attack is, because it's not going to affect me. And so if you combine vulnerability management with application control, good people, good processes, good policy, then you are a very long way ahead of the game. A good vulnerability management system addresses the process around how you manage a positive risk posture. So what I need to do right at the beginning is to be able to assess what I have, okay? You have to be able to assess what you have, because if you don't know what you have, you don't know what the risk is, and you don't know how to fix that problem. So I need to be able to assess the problem. I need to be able to prioritize what those problems are and how they affect my network. I then need to be able to put that situation into a fixed environment. So I need to manage the configuration, I need to manage the remediation process, and really the most important thing at the back end of that is that I can consolidate and validate that all those things have been done. Because why am I doing it? I'm doing it because I want to be able to manage my risk posture, and if I can't validate any of that, then it becomes kind of redundant. So a proactive application control plays a critical part in getting the keys to the kingdom back, because what we're trying to achieve with application control is to say, you can attack me wherever you like, but if I only allow what I know to be good to run on my network, then your attack will not be successful, okay? And that's fundamental. That's a fundamental shift in the way people think about security. Traditionally, security methodologies are reactive. That's just the way the security business has evolved over a period of time. There are so many point technologies, and the majority of them are looking at the attack vector and how they stop the attack making any impact on your network. Application control is absolutely critical to being successful in terms of managing your own known positive good state, because you are not worried about what the attack is. You've just reduced the attack vector, and you have effectively said, I'm only going to allow anything to run on my network that is known good to me. What I mean by getting back the keys to the kingdom is, looking at the IT networks, the core applications that you have within your environment as being, that is the most important thing to you as a business, and how you operate and how you become effective. How do you manage what you have effectively, efficiently, and in a way that actually reduces cost to you and enables you to bring up the capability in terms of the business effectiveness, and also bring down the effect or potential effect of any security exploit on your network. That's what I mean by bringing back the keys to the kingdom. Every organization has core applications and core business processes that enable their people to operate at the best level of efficiency that they can to make their business successful. So any organization, any IT department has to take very seriously anything that can impact that. And so they need to leverage everything they have to be able to use the right technology to bring all of that to bear and make it work in the best way they can, whilst also reducing the possible effects of a security exploit on their network.